Hey, oh, no, hold on a second. False start. Okay, let's try this again. Hey, how's it going? Oh, now I'm all wrinkled. Well, anyway, hey, how's it going? So, I have not made a video in a little while, and I have to confess that I was feeling kind of down, feeling a little bit depressed about, well, some things in life on the side of the screen, but also um, that I just wasn't really the inspiration has not been there. Like the spark, the excitement of doing this has just it's just kind of been so that's disappointing. Pardon. And now some time has passed and I've made a few changes. I am so sorry that I'm all over the place. It's like Star Trek in here. Something's hitting the ship. Whoa! Sorry. Well, okay. Anyway, made some changes in my personal self, in my life, and some other stuff happened extraneously that I had no control over, but we're fine. Good. Anyway, things changed and I am back, I guess is the point. So I'm not gonna specifically talk about any show or anything. God, that reflection is so annoying. Um anyway, yeah, I'm not gonna talk about a specific show, but I am gonna talk about um I guess it's sort of in the realm of this cancel culture stuff that so many on the right are just having such a hard time with. Um, which I'm sorry, I just think it's funny because it's exactly what they do to people all the time, even while they're complaining about how canceled they are with all of their platforms that everyone can see and hear them on ad nauseum, basically. Yeah, it, it always happened. It's not new. It's just, I guess, the right they since they don't seem to have much to offer in the way of policies, they just spend all their time like crap talking, basically. So anyway, they're I'm like sort of viewing oriented, and there is a lot of talk about how they're canceled. In Hollywood, I've heard them complaining about it for years, and I always wondered, what are you talking about? There's no shortage of Republicans working in Hollywood and getting stuff done or any of that. You know what? I gotta. That's better. Just had to close some tabs, and I'm still getting a little bit of a reflection. Well, anyway, like I was saying, I'm viewing oriented, obviously, because that's pretty much all I talk about here. And it turns out that a lot of the things that I really enjoy in cinema or television have like a shit ton of Republicans in it, a lot of people from the right, a lot of conservatives. So, I mean, I guess I don't know what they're talking about. I don't live their lives. Maybe they are experiencing some form of discrimination because of their political leanings in Hollywood, although I don't know. That's the kind of thing that you have to tell somebody. It's not the same as like being like a person of color that you can obviously look at and see that's what's up with them, or like maybe certain flamboyant gay types you might be able to tell. I'm also really bad at that. I knew people for 20 years and more and was surprised to learn at that point, what, you're gay? So my gaydar don't work. I'm just saying, on occasion, it'll come through unmistakably, and they don't have to necessarily be on like RuPaul's drag show level. It's just, I guess it's a more outward exhibition of uh, what is the word I'm looking for? I don't want to say feminine, but it's kind of what I mean. Effeminate, something like that. I mean, it's got to be really obvious for me to like notice is what I'm saying. And it's the same way I think with the Republicans. Like, I mean, unless you got like a blue line flag tattooed on your forehead or some shit, who's gonna know? Unless you start talking about it or you start like, voicing your complaints about who you consider to be the opposition. That'll make you stand out. But regardless, Die Hard, pretty much any Bruce Willis. Moonlighting, I like Bruce Willis. Okay, I just got Disney Plus for a little while, and I wanted to catch up on The Mandalorian. And the young woman that was in it that played, oh hell, I didn't look up the character, but if you are familiar with the subject, you will know that she recently had made some comments that Disney didn't think were good for its public image, even though it's probably what they themselves mostly believe over at Disney. Um, she lost her job, and they're trying to say that that was cancel culture, but people have been getting fired for saying stupid stuff forever. Like, it didn't start with Roseanne, it just, I guess, started with this iteration of like everybody's against us and doing things to us. But that's an odd perspective when you are not coming from that direction. Like, when you're looking at it from outside of the people saying what I'm talking about, it certainly appears that it's them doing those things. And sometimes I just think they totally know it. Irrelevant though, as far as the movie's concerned, for the most part, nothing is going to be said that's going to indicate anything other than what's going on in the movie. And there was one show recently that I saw, and it's a new series that has been showing on Peacock. I mean, the show itself may not be new, but it's new to Peacock because that's where I first saw it, like 6 months ago or something like that, last year ish. And it was Mr. Mercedes, which is a story by Stephen King that got adapted for television. And I love the Stephen King because I like my books too. Those usually turn into some form of medium or, visual or video medium. And that one did. And I really enjoy the story. And I love Brendan Gleeson because I thought he was just amazing in The Badge. And I don't think I've seen anything with him in it that I didn't like. I don't know his politics. I don't think he lives here. um, but he may be like a Trump guy. But it was a little bit alarming to hear that, I think through the screenwriter's voice, which I believe was Dennis Lehane. I think that's where it's coming from. Because I mean, I've read Stephen King for years, and I couldn't tell you really. Well, now I could tell you which way he bends because I think I heard him saying a lot of things against Trump when he was around. So I don't think it was coming from him, the sort of right leaning stuff. But in the body of Mr. Mercedes, I got to hear things like, well, I hope he's not a Democrat or some stupidness like that. Like, if it's part of the story, if it's an election film or something like that, that's appropriate. But in the middle of a horror story, I mean, it didn't even go in the flow of the script. It was stuck out like a big yellow toenail in your salad. I was like, what is this doing here? This is out of place. I mean, it could have a place. It just was clumsily inserted in there, I thought. Didn't add anything to the story for me. It wouldn't have if it was saying it better not be a Republican. Again, don't care about that right now, okay? That's not what the story's about. Get it the hell out. Doesn't belong there. Okay? So let's see who else. Stallone. Um, I saw, I think, the first three Rockies. I think I saw Rambo, but I think by the time he did that, it was either one that did Let's Throw Mama Off the Train or something like that. I was about done with him because, for one thing, he is very difficult to understand. And when he's Mr. Tough Guy, I don't know. I guess he thinks tough guys sound like they got a bunch of fingers in their mouth, along with everything that's also just naturally in there. Because okay, oh, do I need to say that louder? Okay, and then like when he was doing regular dialogue, where he's not supposed to be like gruff and tough or whatever that persona is, just regular diction eludes him. And then so I guess what I'm saying is I don't really care for his movies that much, but when I did watch them, his political leanings had no bearing. Okay, who else? I don't know. There's so many. I mean, they act like they're in a minority, but there are a lot. Gary Sinise, who I never hear say anything. In fact, I didn't hear from him that he was like, I don't know like what level he is, but I didn't hear from him that he was a Republican. I read it somewhere else years ago. I don't hear of him out there shooting off his mouth. And I'm not saying that people are not allowed to go out and express their opinion, but what is happening now is like people are sniping and making personal attacks, and it's supposed to be political. And I don't feel like it is. And they try to politicize everything, but just because you drag the politics into the realm of other things doesn't mean you've politicized that. It just meant you brought some stinky politics in there, and it's out of place. So yeah, never heard Gary Sinise say poo about poo, which I appreciate, and I have enjoyed his work. I think Andrew, or not Andrew, but what's that boy's name? Matthew McConaughey. I'm not sure where he stands. I think he might be like more libertarian, maybe middle-ish, moderate-ish, but still to the right of that. Um, Either way, he's been in a couple of movies that I liked. Okay, but the other stuff that he usually does, like the rom coms, I don't. It doesn't even matter if it's him. I just don't care for those. And then like his Lincoln Lawyer movie, I didn't see. I don't know. I guess he just doesn't. Oh, I saw the space movie. I watched all of that. I mean, it's got to be stuff I care about, but that's not all I care about. I've watched plenty of other movies that are not sci-fi. I don't know who else, but like I don't need to go on. There's plenty of them out there, and it really, I mean, unless they make a fuss and or in the middle of the movie make a fuss about their beliefs, then I don't care. I have been very entertained by a lot of these people and a lot of these things. Like I love the deplorables. It's silly, but I do. Although the last one that I watched, I think it was the last one they did, and some political talk did get in there, and I was like, really? Ah, man, I get whatever. It's your movie, it's your money, but it's a turn off to me, and vice versa. There's no need for any of it to really come up. I swear the world functioned just fine when people weren't super inflamed about what either party was doing or about. I mean, I don't know, we're having a moment. So I guess what I'm saying is I don't really want to, and I don't let that stuff ruin my entertainment value. I think that's silly, I mean, there's people out there that I actively dislike, but if they're in something and it's not them talking their own opinion stuff and they perform well, great. That's what I want to see. You know? I mean, come on. Does my opinion affect you? Hardly. And because they made a movie, does it really affect you unless you let it? I mean, do you let it program you? Are you inviting the programming in? I mean, either way, it's on you. It's on us. So I guess that was it. Just my little 2 cents, and not exactly a review, but still entertainment related, entertainment adjacent. So, for all of the Republicans that are in, you know, Hollywood as an umbrella term, let's say, like whatever you're doing from craft service to makeup to lead role to director, whatever it is. Thank you. I love what you do. Keep it up. And I mean, it's not up to me to tell anyone else what to think. We all have our opinions, but I think that there is an appropriate here or where and when to unleash them upon the public. And but also, everybody stop, please, trying to ruin it for everyone else that doesn't care about your, you know, this person is that way, so I can't look at what they do. It's like if you dislike one person in a whole whatever movie show, that's kind of unfair. There's a whole bunch of other people that work and that are there that may not be clones of this one person. So, as I used to tell my friend who would get mad every time she'd want to go to a movie with me, and I'd say, well, I want to see Batman or Star Wars, and she'd want to see some like other kind of not action or sci-fi deal. We'd have to kind of alternate. So when it was my turn, I had to sit there and try to enjoy my movie with her sitting there complaining about all the actors the whole time. I mean, she actually got kicked out one time. She like took me to see a movie I wanted to see on my birthday, and then proceeded to complain the whole time. Get kicked out of the theater I was in trying to watch my movie, slunk into another. I don't know why I went off the rails with that. I'm just saying. I enjoy my entertainment. I think we all do. So, God, like, oh, that's right. She couldn't handle Batman and she couldn't handle Star Trek. And it was just like not reality based to her. And I was like, suspend reality. You're not here to watch your own life. That would be freaking boring. I almost spat out my teeth. um, yeah, you gotta just suspend reality. And if that involves you forgetting about somebody's politics, you can't do that. If like you can't do that for yourself to enjoy something you want to see, that's not on them. That's on you, baby. That is your fault. Okay, I don't know what's going on. Maybe I need some boobs up here to smooth things out. I don't know. It's very wrinkled. It's like really bothering me. I should probably go and stop talking about the shirt. Anyway, that's about it. I just want to say, everybody, come on, man, ease up. It's like we're making all this shit way more important than it needs to be, and it's especially we don't need to drag it into our entertainment. Like, come on, really? Let's not. I guess that's all I have to say for now. I will. Okay, here's what I got. Sort of bubbling away on the back burner. I was thinking, Keanu Reeves, who I have been a fan of since we were both kids. I think I'm like a year older than him, maybe, or one of us is a year or two older or younger. Anyway, we're real close together in age. And I just followed his career, and he seems to be a good guy and likable, but you have no idea what these people are like when they're not in public being their persona. Even if it's their own self, they're not out on the street being their regular old self because they have to have a defense up because everybody and their mama's dog wants a piece of them, of him. And it got me thinking though, there's another actor, gentleman, that was out at the same time as Keanu when he was doing like The Matrix and Speed and uh, what was the movie, the surfing one he did with Patrick Swayze? They just did a remake of it. Something about bank robbing. I can't remember right now. You can Google it. It had Patrick Swayze and Keanu Reeves, and I don't remember who else, but those two actors in surfing and bank robbing, you should find it if you can rock that search bar. um, I think I may have lost track of what I was babbling about. Oh, right. So, like, I know I can kind of rattle off a bunch of Keanu Reeves movies, like The River's Edge, But that was like a period. That was like a moment in time, well, longer than a moment, but it was like a period in time, like maybe of a few years, that he was really popular and he put out a lot of movies. Man, maybe I should use the glue. I hate these things. Anyway, at the same time, though, Brendan Fraser was doing the same thing. He had a bunch of movies coming out too, and I'm not sure how old he is. Like he may be a little older than I am, but I don't think by much. Um, but he was doing fun stuff too. Like Encino Man was funny. The Mummy was good. A lot of the movies that got really bad reviews from people, like Encino Man and stuff like that, I really enjoyed. Like it's not Shakespeare. Like adjust your parameters for uh when you're like making your reviewing judgment. Don't expect something that's not, a classical like Russian masterpiece to be one if it's not what it says it's gonna be. Like that's silly to go in with that kind of expectation. You gotta know some stuff's gotta suck. Some stuff's gotta be bad. It's balance. That's what it is. It's the way the world works. If we don't have balance, the stuff gets crazy. I think we know that. Okay, so um, I I felt that Brendan Fraser has kind of gotten like a not a bad rap, but like he just got like unlucky with the crazy public. And I know that he was around and then something happened, and I didn't even know something happened. He was just gone for a while, and I know I read or heard on TMZ or something that there was some sort of like thing going on with his family. I don't think he's still together with the wife, and whatever it was like, stuff that happens to people. And then, like actors do, he just seemed to like go away. And because there's always a new one or a new 30 of them, and I'm easily distracted. Ooh, shiny. I want it. you know, you make room for all this new stuff to come in. And I kind of forgot about him and that he was gone. But then I remembered when he started showing up again lately. But then the weirdest thing though was finding out was finding out on like one of these sites like Grunge or Screen Rant or I can't think of the other one, Looper, something like that. One of those like in entertainment talking clip shows, and they were like saying it was like a sort of a negative outlook on the people they were talking about, and but they're wrong usually with the way they characterize these things, in my opinion. But they were saying that the reason why he suddenly disappeared and his career tanked is because he was at an award show and talking to somebody, and then something was happening he obviously was not paying attention to, and there's a camera in his face, probably like, oh wow, all of a sudden, because he was absorbed in his conversation, and he turned around and made some sort of expression. Now, I wasn't there. I have no idea. I remember the award show. I actually happened to be watching it. And this is why I also think it's weird, is because I remember when the camera like turned to him and they did have that reaction shot. Like somebody was blabbing on the stage, going on and on. And he, like I said, was deep in conversation until he realized there was a camera that was probably like right here, which would make me turn around and go, or something like, get the frick out of my face so close. Like, I don't know what the reaction was. Maybe the person he was talking to told him that, she just bought a life insurance policy on him. Who knows? because most of us weren't there, and even the ones were there, they were like, you could see they were all absorbed in their own stuff. And dude, an award show, everybody's all about like their look, their image, their pay attention to me, their whole ego is like turned on full blast, I would think. So this is my impression at the time. And so then I'm later, the years later, like probably like God, like 20 some years almost later or more, I'm just guessing here as far as the time. But I see, like I said, on the show on YouTube, this like clip show type deal. And they start talking about him at this show, and their contention was that because he had that expression for however many minuscule seconds it was, that was it. That is what like blew out his career and why he didn't work anymore. And I was like, wow, you're entertainment, and that's what you really think happened. I don't think that's really what really happened. I'm not in entertainment, but I did grow up in Hollywood. I did work a lot in Hollywood doing various things, and I did quite a bit of extra work. So I do, and I know a lot of actors. I know a lot of people that work at studios. I worked for a producer. So, I mean, I know more than the average bear about Hollywood and the people in Hollywood since I lived there and was one of them. Um, just like in any person's life, things happen that are perhaps unforeseen for the person in question, the actor. And then also, it's the same kind of thing that can happen to people that are no one knows from Joe Blow. The scale of whatever it was will likely be different because he probably would have had a greater income than most of us. But I mean, it's all relative. So, I mean, I still don't know what happened. I don't even care what happened. None of my business. I don't care about his politics. I'm just glad to see him back. And what was it, Condor? Yes, Condor, and loved him in Doom Patrol. I don't know how old that is. I'll have to look it up. And I can't wait for the new season. I already burned through the ones that were on HBO Max, and I need more. And I need more Brendan Fraser in it. I need more Brendan Fraser. Period. Like he's so good. And what's the other one? Oh, he's well, I don't know. He's so good in Condor though. It was like that movie. It was like in the tropical somewhere, and he was like the ambassador or something like that. I think it was like the first serious film he did that wasn't, like one of his earlier kooky comedy escapades. And I was really impressed with, his skill as an actor. And he's still got it. He's still good. And I think he deserves just as much praise and attention as Mr. Keanu Reeves, who also deserves the praise and attention that he gets. And so, what I plan to do in the future is a Brendan Fraser retrospective and show of appreciation because I think he deserves it. So, there. Thank you and good night.